Yeah. What's going on, y'all? Well, day I seen this and I feel like this could be a topic that I would like to talk on. Young man Marcus Taylor got 2 life sentences for drugs and firearms. And I think this is ridiculous. That in a world, especially a system that had the highest drug rate, that been selling drugs and been giving drugs to our community for decades, have the audacity to still utilize this court system to demonize our black men. Not murder, not a child molester, not any heinous thing besides trying to make money to take care of his family. And he get punished 2 life sentences for what? This is a public outcry that needs to be dealt with this crooked justice system. For years, they have been sending our black men, including myself, to prison doing extraordinary time for no reason. You have a president with 32 charges and been convicted of all of them, and he's still running the country. You got the Epstein files still hidden from all the pedophiles and child molesters that run this country, and they are still walking around free. Even the mismanagement of Roanoke City County funds that they now want to try to cut funds from the school system, and nobody went to jail. I would like to know anyone to tell me, how does this make sense? Do you think it's fair that a man got 2 life sentences for drugs and firearm charges? I mean, who sell the guns? Where we get the guns from? We don't make them. And these days and time, people need firearms to protect themselves. United States of America is the biggest dope dealer in the world. They spend their fortune defending Big Pharma. Medical facilities get paid by Big Pharma to give you medication that don't just help you, but also kill you at the same time. And they get incentives for that. Doctors now get paid not to heal, but to cause sickness. The more you have a hospital visits, the more they get paid. For a country that's supposed to be so prosperous and so big, that we allow ourselves to be victimized by the very system that has demolished us, brainwashed us, separated us, tricked us, got us fighting against each other. For what? How can we solve this? Where the city council members? What are the people that's supposed to speak up for people such as him? What judge in their right mind will give a man that much time for selling dope? When you have on the television every commercial, if you take this drug, these are the side effects. May cause liver damage, loss of limb, even death. Them the chances that people take. But it's legitimized. And after people be found dead, or they found studies that knowingly cause people problems. Let me fix my camera. They have $1 billion funds to protect them and to give them qualified immunity from any repercussions based on the outcome of their drug trials. Meaning they don't get in trouble. They don't go to prison. They don't get nothing against their record. This young man right here has done what anybody else would do in America. And that's to try to make any means possible to take care of their family. And for anybody that say he could have got a job, shut the fuck up. Everybody is not qualified to be a slave on somebody else's job. One thing that I learned, and I learned this early in age, that white folks don't like a black person smarter than them, work harder than them, and have ambition. They would do anything in their power to get in your way. I had an incident with a woman that I recently knew that got me fired from a job. And she, oh, I'm so sorry, please forgive me. How? How can I forgive you? For what? I don't know what I was doing. You knew exactly what you was doing when you lied on me to get me fired. You know, it had to be some type of accountability that's going on here. That judge need to be accountable for give somebody's son, somebody's father, 2 life sentences for trying to survive in the world that kept us down in the first place. Like, where do these laws come from? Who established them? Where are the guidelines to something as petty as this? No matter what he was selling, no matter what he was doing, if it wasn't a murder, a pedophile, anything that was harmful to somebody else, because as we know, drugs sell itself, so it don't make no difference who got them. There's a need for them. The government put them drugs out there for people to be addicted on, because that's how they make their money. In order to stimulate the economy, they got to make a problem. I don't know if y'all ever seen them pictures of people in Keniston, Pennsylvania. How them white people out there laid out on the street, needles everywhere. You know, there has to be some type of repercussion that we constantly allow this system to break us. Why do this man deserve a 2 life sentence for drugs? Even the mayor himself, Joe Cobb, that misappropriated money. You heard about it one time and that was it. And he became mayor. But the other person that's supposed to misappropriate, what his name, Robert Jeffrey, he's doing time. White people do the same thing and even worse than black people do and get less time. Why is that? Why are we dealing with this type of, how can I say it, unbiased treatment? And we allow it to happen. And all we do is just talk about it. There's no action behind anything. You know why? Because there's no unity. There's no togetherness. All we can do is just talk. That's all we've been doing for a long time. Talking. I think the talking stage has been passed. It's time for action. It's time for you to stand up. It's time for you to stop fighting against each other. Stop arguing against each other. And do something about being treated unfairly, because it can not only happen to this young man, it can also happen to you or your cousin or your dad or your brother and even yourself. For as long as I see people keep on trying to work with the enemy, trying to work with the same people that put you in the same predicament that you in now. Now look what we facing. A young man lost his life completely over a biased judgment. It don't say murder. It don't say anything crime against a child, crime against a woman. No death. To make it so bad, we don't know what the man was doing. I don't care if he got caught with 2 pounds of cocaine, an ounce of fentanyl, and does not deserve 2 life sentences. I would love to hear people comments on what you think about this situation. How does this make you feel? It is something that we can do about this. Is it something that we can say? What will allow people to understand that we are living in a situation where people are, and in fact, being spectators of what's going on? How can we change the output on that? How can we see things for what it really is? For the longest, we have been establishing ourselves into a community that constantly treats us unfairly. We get done wrong, and all we do is just talk about it without any repercussion. We don't have nothing positive to say about each other. We don't have no unity with each other. And when I go live for the simple fact because now it's time that we need to understand that this is not the first time that this has happened. When we gonna start being a voice to our own people? When we gonna start realizing that it's gonna take all of us to make a change? to make a difference, to become so solidified in our standing that we need to recognize that this has to stop. I know it may be some people that might feel like, hey, he deserved it. What made you feel that he does? So we have to learn that we need to fight, not only for ourselves, but for each other. You know, I'm gonna wait till some people come on because this is something that is very important to me. And it should be important to you as well. We not only people of color, but we also people with respect. And we need to be respected. We need to understand that without each other, we have nothing. I'll be right back. I am going to do some research. Be right back. Y'all listen to some music. Okay. Back in the house. Now, as we all know, this is Mike Brown that was murdered. For people that don't realize, it has been a war on black people from the beginning of time since the Europeans ever settled here on our land. Now, people have the notion that we was already slaves and Britain already get here because that's the story that they told us in school, which we know is now a lie. But for those that don't think that there has been a war against us and you're too busy focusing on bullshit, listen to this video and tell me what you think from their perspective. Now that's a powerful situation. And I hope those that watch that scene that it has been a war on black people for the longest. And a lot of people don't want to acknowledge that. Right here in Roanoke, I've been in and I've seen so many things. I even heard the conversation that Wabu had with Faison Nash. When Faison Nash established Roanoke as a city, honestly, I beg to differ. It's just a town just like anybody else. But he made a number about 90,000 people that live in Roanoke City alone. But he also didn't embellish that only 20-something thousand of them 90-something thousand people are black. So regardless of being on the city council, making all these particular rules, everything have to be done in a way that they see fit. Meaning that even though you can bring it to the table, that don't mean they actually will have to approve it. You still have a country and a town that is predominantly white. You still live in a town that predominantly white make all the decisions. You still live in a town that all the funding that Roanoke City get from the federal government goes to them white organizations, such as TAP, which has employed what, almost 75% of most black women. Most jobs employ majority of black women. So tell me, where are the black men working? What are the black men doing? Trying to survive. Black men that is not of a Delta or any type of fraternity organization, or that want to speak like a white person, that feel like they are more accepted in their community because of the integration and of being non, how can I say it, non-confrontational, weak-minded, soft, like these pastors, Christians, somebody that don't really want to fight for freedom, but tell you that in order to gain freedom, you got to believe in Jesus and let Jesus solve your problem. Wait on Jesus to make a change, and things will change for the better. The same story they gave our ancestors long ago, that change will only make after Jesus' second coming. Well, ladies and gentlemen, ain't no second coming coming. Not one bit. That has been a complete lie. And the reason why the war is so abdominant in not just Virginia, but several other places in this place that we call America against black people, because we have been the target from the beginning. We have been disenfranchised on our own land and don't even know it. We have been trained, socially indoctrinated to be against each other because one person is trying to come up and survive in this white man's world. Being pretty, having a fat ass will get you everywhere. Women now choosing to be with other women because men can't be men anymore. Can't be a provider. So what do? Yeah, they sell dope. They rob. They steal. They do whatever it take to put the money in their pocket for the simple fact that bills need to be paid. But this is not only going on in Ferguson. Let me establish in Roanoke. You go downtown in Roanoke, you park. You have to pay for parking. Why should I have to pay for parking if I'm coming down here to spend money? Parking should be free. But their laws allow people to buy up space and property and make people to pay just to pay. And if you don't park in those parking lots and you park on the side of the street with all these signs that they have on them, you can't be there long. They charge you for that. How many times have you went downtown and can't get parking and can't find anywhere to park? Or how many times you done been downtown and come back to your car and see a ticket? So here's the game. Every dollar that you receive has to go back to the government some way. And I hear people use, well, Virginia is a commonwealth, so they make laws as they come. But people don't realize that we the people. Have you ever read the Declaration of Independence? Have you ever read the Constitution? Have you actually read it? You know, if we supposed to be all equal, and as we seen earlier, that we're not. We're not treated equal. We never was. That had always been a lie. Going back to Marcus Taylor, a Roanoke man. Now, I don't know Mr. Taylor personally, but in my book, he's still my brother. And I don't feel like no man deserves to have two life sentences. For what? The courts need to explain to me why a sentence so harsh for a man that's just trying to take care of his family. The same way that judge and them jurors trying to take care of theirs. And we always say we gonna go to court with the jury of our peers. Well, the peers have spoken that I would have found him not guilty. Or gave him a lighter sentence just to be accountable. But for what? If he didn't sell dope, what can you offer him? What can you offer a black man in these days and time before they bust in your head and do something or do whatever they got to do to take care of? What can you offer them alternatively to be successful in this country? Everyone don't have the gift of gab. Everyone don't know how to kiss no ass. Everyone ain't got time to be playing your games. We're men, not suckers. You know, a lot of people do what they got to do in order to fit in, to be accepted, to not be feared, because we are feared people, because we are of God, the direct descendants of God, and we have God in us. And that's what a lot of people mostly fear. They fear of us rising up. They fear of us standing up. They fear of us educating ourselves, utilizing the system to crush the same system that crushed us. You can't do it with ignorance. You can't do it with not being able to read. You can't do it with not being able to express yourself in a way that is articulately spoken in order to defend yourself articulately. White people utilize this game as plain stupid. They'll play stupid all day long. You can say something to them and they act like they didn't hear nothing that just came out your mouth. They pretend to not understand where you're coming from. When deep down inside, they know exactly where you're coming from. They would turn around and play the victim. They would turn around and act like you victimized them for the crimes they committed. How many police officers was found liable for crimes that they committed? Now, I want you to understand that a job as a police officer is a job. They get paid less than $40,000 a year for a job. Half of those people on the job don't have no interaction, mostly, with black people. Or even if they did, they already have a particular, they made up their mind on what they think about you. Black people are known as saying we're lazy, we're violent, we're dangerous, we can't keep a job, we don't know how to act. And all because after the crack era, when they passed the law, now they passed a law, even though we didn't agree on it or not, of not being able to discipline your own kids. They made this, they created what we are now talking about unruly black kids, or this new mental ADHD. See, ADHD was solved with an ass whooping back in the day. When mama say sit your ass down somewhere. She know how to fix ADHD. Not no fucking pill, Ritalin and all that stuff there. Giving them pills in school, making sure they have nurses to make sure that they take their pills. When then you turn around, your kid become autistic or slow. Can't read and can't write, can't think. They can't function in a society because they don't know any better. Or even in school when they felt like people can't read or consider them slow because they don't learn the way you think they should learn. Anybody that ever been to school since the 80s, since the 70s, since the 60s, only 5% of the people that actually learn anything out of there accomplish anything. And those just go with the flow. Come to school every day, do what you got to do, and basically go with the flow. As long as you're going with the flow and not going against the grain, then you'll be all right because you one of the good boys. You one of the ones that would do as you told. You know, we can depend on you. You can work for me, make me some money, and you will stay loyal and diligent, being a loyal slave. You know how many people say, I done worked for a company 40 years, 30 years, doing the same shit with nothing to show for it, but a house that you don't own, a car that might be paid for that you still don't own because you still have to pay property tax. And every year you have to pay your taxes. What are you working for? Where is the American dream that they so-called say they had? The Great Depression was created based on people borrowing money, using credit. Their lives are on credit. You know, people right now is trying to get a high credit score so they can borrow money. People trying to get their credit score up so they can buy a car. And then after you get the loan, for whatever reason you utilize your credit score for, you still have to pay back. Case in point, I brought a 2019 Chrysler 300 in 2022. Paid $558 a month for approximately 2 years. If you calculate that, that was close to 14,000 and something. Now the car was only 28,000. Out the 2 years of me paying on this car, only $2,000 went to the principal of that car. Now, if that's not illegal, then tell me what is. I asked, and I'm going to tell you the bank. Members One, which is now being brought up by the Virginia Credit Union, is crooked as fuck. All these banks are crooked. So you mean to tell me that for a $28,000 car, me paying 2 years of $14,000, which is half of the $28,000, only $2,000 went to the principal. And then on top of that, they came and repossessed the car. But before they repossessed the car, they added a $6,000 fee because didn't even know it. I missed 1 month of insurance before I went over. I didn't even know it because I was up under somebody else's name. But out the $6,000, only $1,500 was credited. So now on top of the $28,000, I have close to $45,000 or $4,500 added to the $28,000 after I paid half of what the car is actually worth. And you know, once you got the car also depreciates. So now I invested $14,000 into a car that they came and repossessed. And I think, and I don't care, and they better not even try me to still try to get some more money from me. After you're gonna try to take that same car that I put $14,000 in to try to sell it to somebody else. And to be honest with you, it wasn't even 2 months before I had the car when they were trying to come to me, trying to get the car back for someone else. So when people tell me, oh, when they get their tax money, because everybody needs transportation, especially in Roanoke, buses don't run on Sunday. And during the day, they run every hour on an hour. I mean, and basically don't get you anywhere, everywhere you need to go. We have to learn how to look at things from a different perspective because too many people are focused just on themselves. You focus on yourself until something hits your ass, until you lose your job, until you can't find nothing else to do. When are we going to wake up, realize that in order for us to make a change, we have to change ourselves. We have to change our mind frame, and we have to change the way we think. We have a younger generation coming up, and I swear to you, a lot of you people are disappointing as hell. You're not only disappointing your people, you're disappointing your kids. Trying to feed them the same ideology our grandparents had gave us, and look what it got us. When are we going to learn? See, people don't take these things seriously until it hit them. Until it actually hits you where it hurts. either your pocket or a loved one. Anybody can have an opinion about something, but we're talking about facts. Facts that we are treated and done the worst, the most. So, before I end this, I'd like to salute my brother Marcus Taylor. May the people in Roanoke stand up and fight against this illegal sentence and get that man released. And you can talk about Trump all you want to, but Trump is one of the ones that probably to be the one to get him released. Because that's a hard sentence. And they would not do anything with that sentence unless the people stand up, raise up, and contend what is going on in our judicial system. Because as a black man, we should be get tired of being victimized and being sentenced to these long ass sentences for minor crimes when the same crime white people commit, they don't even get a fraction of what he got. So we have to learn that in order for us to be able to free ourselves, we have to also be able to strengthen ourselves and have each other's back. That's what we need to do. So my people, Roanoke, Miami, Missouri, California, Texas, all my brothers and sisters all over the world, even over in Africa, here's a cry for freedom, cry to unify. I'm crying and I'm screaming out to y'all that we must bring our brotherhood together and we must get back what has been stolen from us. In order for us to be able to do that, we must be able to stick together. So, for y'all to understand, for me to close out on something, peace out. And may y'all continue to strive. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. I appreciate any comments, any questions, anything that you may ask. I'm Damon the Troop Davis, representing Black Unity. May God bless. Peace out.